For all chest, shoulder, back, leg, and arm exercises, whenever you need to grip something, you must ensure your grip is correct. If your grip isn't right, the direction of all your resistance will change. And at that point, nitpicking the details of the movement is completely meaningless. What does that mean? Let me give you an example. Whether you're training shoulders or biceps, as long as your grip isn't solid, the movements you perform, whether you're doing it this way, that way, or another way, won't work. If your grip is solid, you can build bigger arms. But if your grip isn't solid, no matter how perfect your movement trajectory is, it's useless. Your arms just won't grow, no matter how you train them. In other words, the importance of your grip is second only to breathing. It is more important than the key points of any exercise movement. To sum it up in one simple sentence, as long as you are training your chest, shoulders, back, or arms, if you can't maintain your grip, then all the movement details you focus on afterward are nonsense, complete nonsense. You might look professional, but you're also prone to injury because your line of force breaks right here. And then you end up working the wrong muscles instead. And there's a saying, the whole world is teaching you how to lift iron, but no one in the world is teaching you how to hold on to that iron. That's a bit ironic and a bit ridiculous. It's really like that. Whether you're from a professional sports university, including Beijing Sport University or USC, or you have one of the 4 major global certifications or a national professional certification, not a single fitness institution teaches you how to grip a dumbbell or how to grip a barbell. They all focus on nitpicking how you control your core stability muscles, how you stay within a movement plane, and how you get your agonist and antagonist muscles to work well together. It's meaningless because if you don't know how to grip, your dumbbell keeps shifting, your barbell keeps shifting, so what are you even training for? So conversely, they don't teach the most important things. They don't teach breathing. They just tell you to exhale when exerting force and inhale when returning to the starting position, and that's it. And they don't teach how to grip, how to stand, or how to plant your feet. The 3 most important things in lifting weights are not taught at all. It's already quite remarkable that you've managed to build the muscles you have now. It wasn't easy. And it's also quite remarkable that you've only just gotten injured now. He is currently using a standard incorrect grip. This person is using the most common grip you see, which is the dumbbell bar goes right through the middle of the palm. This is a ridiculously wrong grip, yet it's the one the vast majority of people use. You need to take a look at this grip. It's wrong. And with this grip, you basically won't be able to build big arms, and you're especially prone to what? TFCC, triangular fibrocartilage complex injury. And then golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, bicipital tendinitis, subacromial impingement. You are especially prone to these issues. Basically, for every beginner, once you increase the intensity to a certain level, these kinds of problems will arise. And let me tell you, over 95% of people, as long as you keep lifting, you will encounter these problems. And after you encounter these problems, if you don't change your grip posture, just pressing here, needling there, or training stability here won't really solve the issue. And let me show you some things later. This one is on the thumb. And I don't know how good your anatomy knowledge is, but this is the transverse head of the adductor pollicis, and this is the oblique head of the adductor pollicis. You'll find that controlling the thumb, the adduction function of the thumb, is very important, because as long as you are gripping, you need the adduction function of the thumb. All gripping movements require the adduction function of the thumb. You will find that the muscle for thumb adduction originates from the second and third fingers and inserts into the thumb. In other words, only when your second and third fingers are gripped firmly can your thumb possibly have strength. Let me reiterate, among the 4 fingers, the thumb has the greatest strength and is the most important, but its strength does not depend on itself. Whether it can exert force depends on whether the second and third fingers are stable. In other words, only after the second and third fingers are gripped firmly can your thumb be gripped firmly and held tight. If your second and third fingers aren't gripped tightly, no matter how thick or strong your thumb and then our eminence are, you still won't be able to grip tightly. So this is also a philosophical question. When I make a fist like this, the more powerful my thumb is, the more it presses down on my index and middle fingers, making it harder for them to be pried open. However, whether my thumb can press down on my index and middle fingers depends on whether the index and middle fingers are clenched tightly. Can you understand this? So, the tighter your index and middle fingers are gripped, the more the thumb helps to press them down in return, making them even harder to pry open. The easier it is for the dumbbell or barbell to feel like an extension of your hand, so no matter what you do, it won't slip or go off course. But if your index and middle fingers aren't gripped tightly, your thumb won't be gripped tightly either. And if your thumb isn't gripped tightly, your index and middle fingers will be even easier to pry open. That is the relationship between them. Many people train their thumbs, especially those who do massage therapy, because the thumb gets used a lot. Alright, let me reiterate. If you're constantly giving massages and using your thumb and your thumb feels uncomfortable and painful afterward, it's not because you need to train your thumb. Many people have tenosynovitis. It's not about training the thumb, but training the index and middle fingers. Once you've trained your index and middle fingers, your thumb will be fine. Do you understand? But many people don't quite grasp the principle behind it. Let me tell you, it's because no one has really studied these things thoroughly. Those who understand anatomy don't practice or train, and those who train don't understand the principles or anatomy. Those who train also don't understand sports rehabilitation. So there are very few people who can explain these things clearly to you. Now let me show you this. The first interosseous muscle is different from all the other interosseous muscles. What is its function? Its function is to adduct the thumb and abduct the index finger. Adduct the thumb, abduct the index finger. It's actually what allows you to perform this movement. Okay, because the index finger is abducted and all the other interosseous muscles only have the function of abduction. Only this one for the thumb has the function of adduction. Then, if you look at the flexor pollicis longus and flexor pollicis brevis, all the muscles that control the flexion of the thumb must have one function, which is to adduct the thumb. You see, the flexor pollicis longus is slanted. The flexor pollicis longus you see in anatomy software only has the function of flexing the thumb. In reality, if you want the flexor pollicis longus to flex, it must be accompanied by adduction because of the slanted orientation of its muscle fibers. In other words, for the thumb to flex better, it must involve both flexion and adduction together. All the muscles that can control the flexion of the thumb have an adduction function. So only by adducting can you press down, and only then can you grip something tightly. Now let me show you something else. What should we look at? This is the flexor pollicis brevis. Where is the flexor pollicis brevis located? It's located on the index finger. In other words, if your index finger is unstable, your flexor pollicis brevis cannot exert force, and neither can your adductor pollicis, neither its transverse head nor its oblique head can exert force. So if you want your thumb to exert force, you still have to rely on your index finger. Furthermore, the flexor pollicis longus also passes through the index finger. Therefore, only when your index finger is stabilized can your thumb exert force effectively. This finger is very important. And look again, the interosseous muscle also originates from, it is also located at the index finger. Only after your index finger is stabilized can it pull the thumb in. So all the muscles I showed you that control the thumb are related to the index finger, and they are also related to the middle finger, but the relationship with the index finger is even closer. So that's why for many people with thumb tenosynovitis, I don't train their thumb at all. I train their index and middle fingers. Many people don't understand this, but after I train their index and middle fingers, their thumb gets better. Many people have issues with holding children, picking things up, or chopping vegetables. When you chop vegetables, clack, 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 clack. When you do that, right here, mommy thumb can't perform this motion. It hurts a lot when you do it. In reality, it's not that the thumb has lost its strength. If you train the thumb, it's inefficient. Once I train these two fingers well, the thumb naturally gets better. Since thumb muscles originate from the index finger, they're functionally linked. No master has taught you this, which is why I call them a philosophical entity. If your thumb struggles, it's because your index and middle fingers aren't working. The less capable your thumb is, the weaker those fingers become. Conversely, stronger index and middle fingers help your thumb improve. That is their logical relationship.